Hi, I'm Leslie Reichert, and welcome to Clean Green Living. Today we're going to spend a lot of time in my kitchen. Whether you know it or not, there's a lot of germs in your kitchen. We spend time washing our hands or disinfecting our countertops, but there's some sneaky spots in our kitchen that you don't know where the germs are, and I'm going to show you them to you today. We're also going to have a little quick quiz to see if you can figure out what is the germiest spot in your kitchen. I'm going to show you how to take care of your stove, from the glass top, the microwave, and even stainless steel, how to keep it clean. I'm going to go through and show you some ways to spot clean your carpeting, and we're going to go through disinfecting and cleaning all those germs out of the kitchen. So join me today. We're going to have a great time. We're going to start working on the stove. This is always a really difficult place to work because it's got grease, food, all sorts of different things you're trying to remove at the same time. Now, one of the quick tricks I'm going to show you is when you have something that's really sticky, you have your fan and it's taking grease, it's really gross up there. But instead of using a real harsh cleaner, we're going to use rubbing alcohol. That's all you need. Remember that rubbing alcohol actually cuts through grease and it'll remove it. So I'm going to show you with this white cloth what we're going to do. Now normally I wouldn't use this kind of a cloth up there, but it'll be a real visual to see how it's going to cut through the grease up there. Look at that. But I'm not scrubbing or working really hard, and the alcohol's doing the work for me. And you just do that, and that way you can keep up with it and it's not a big battle. Now we're going to go on to the front of the microwave and show you how to clean that. All right, now when we're talking about germy places, everyone thinks that the finger pad of the microwave is the germiest spot in the kitchen, but you're wrong. It's actually really easy to clean. You can just take a microfiber cloth, wipe over it, and when you have stainless steel or glass, the microfiber is going to do all the work for you. It's going to pick up all the germs and make it so that it looks perfect. And it's a quick clean. Make sure you do the handles, and if it's really germy or you think somebody had a cold, go back to either hydrogen peroxide or rubbing alcohol, and that'll kill the germs on it. But most of the time, microfiber will just pick up the germs for you and make it perfectly clean. All right, the glass top of the stove is the hardest thing in the kitchen to clean, at least for me. I waited years to get this glass top, and now I find out that it's the hardest thing to keep clean. But I'm going to show you a couple tricks. And it's really super easy to do. First of all, if you've got it, it's just after you've done cooking and you've got a couple water spots or some stuff that's spilled over, go back to your microfiber cloth. This is glass, and this microfiber cloth is going to clean the glass and leave it looking perfect, okay? So there's a quick one. Always make sure it's off and it's not hot. That's the other problem. Okay, if you have something that's not coming off with the microfiber, we're going to step it up a little bit. The next thing you want to try is a cleaner with pumice in it. Now pumice is just like a pumice stone that you would use on your feet or anything else, but they make cleaners that actually have pumice, real fine ground pumice in it. And you're going to use like an eraser sponge with that pumice and just go over it in a circular motion. So anything that's not coming off the way you want it to, you just go over it with this combo. Keep rubbing. It's going to take a little bit of elbow grease, but you're going to find that it's going to take off anything that's built up. Now, if there's something that's still not coming off, I'm going to have you use a razor blade. I know it's a little scary, but there's a way to do it where it won't hurt the glass and it's not going to scratch. You want to put it at an angle. It's 45 degrees angle. You don't want to go down too far. You don't want to go too up. Keep it at 45 degrees and just go over the glass like this. Anything that's stuck on is going to come right off, and it makes it easy to keep it clean. Now notice I'm doing it right along with the pumice, so it's between the razor blade and the pumice working together, and it's going to take off anything that got burnt on. All right, after that, You just take another microfiber cloth, wipe it off, and you're good to go. Now, you've got something that's just refusing to come off. I'm going to show you this trick and it works really well. You have to do it overnight. But what you do is you just take a little bit of baking soda, sprinkle it on the stove, just a little. And you're going to mess around like that. Then what you're going to do is you're going to spray this with vinegar. See how it's starting to bubble? That's the reaction between the baking soda and the vinegar working together. Then you're going to leave that on the stove and you're going to cover it up with a wet tea towel. You put that on the stove and leave it overnight. Just forget about it, go to bed. You're going to wake up in the morning, you come back, you're going to pick up this tea towel and wipe it all away, and everything underneath there is going to be nice and clean. I guarantee this works. You've got to try it. All right, so now we've got 4 or 5 different levels of how to clean your glass top stove. Now I'm going to show you about the stainless steel in your kitchen too. One of the things I always dreamt about was having a glass top stove. I thought it would be so easy to keep clean. Boy, was I wrong. I know everybody else deals with that same problem as well. So today we're going to work on showing everybody all the different tricks and tips that I've learned on how to keep it clean. It's a lot of work. All right, so this is stainless steel, and this is my stainless steel stove. And I want to show you, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a big difference between this side of my stainless steel and this. What happens with stainless steel is it oxidizes. It almost like corrodes a little bit every day. And that's why it's so difficult to clean stainless steel. If it doesn't have the oxidation on it, it looks really nice and clean. So if it's clean and you've had the oxidation removed, just a simple microfiber cloth will go over it and take the fingerprints and everything else off. That's really easy to clean. Now, if it's like this part over here, you need to use that same kind of a pumice on it. And I'm going to show you what happens when you go over it. You don't be afraid. And actually, stainless steel has almost like a pattern to it. Go with the pattern. Do not do it in circles. Just go back and forth. And you almost smell something kind of a little off when you start to do this. And that's when you're removing all the oxidation. What happens when I do that? So that's all dirt that's down inside the metal. And that's what's attracting the fingerprints and the oils and making it difficult to clean. Once we do that, we just remove it with a wet cloth, and it's going to look great. If you still have some spots on your stainless steel or areas that have almost like a stain to them, you can add a little bit of an oil to it. This is orange oil, and what you're going to do is just spray it right on the microfiber cloth and gently, just a light film, go over the stainless steel. Again, you're going with the pattern. But look how nice that leaves it. And that will repel fingerprints because it's oil against oil. You're not going to get any fingerprints on your stainless steel. It'll keep it looking nice and clean. And if it starts to get a little drab, just put a little more oil on it. You're good to go. So one tip I want to make sure you really heard during the show was using orange oil. You can also use lemon oil on your stainless steel. What that does is it seals the oxygen that's getting into the metal so it doesn't have oxidation. And the other thing is it's an oil, so the oily fingerprints, when you touch the stainless steel, it's going oil on oil. So you're not going to get fingerprints on your stainless steel, and it's going to stay cleaner longer. I have 4 things in your kitchen that are germy. Which of these 4 do you really think is the germiest? I bet you said the sponge, or maybe even the cutting board, but you're wrong. The germiest one of these 4 things is actually your salt shaker. When was the last time you cleaned yours? Bet you didn't think about it. Little kids sitting at the table eating, you never wipe down these. Never. I know you don't. So I'm going to show you real quick how to disinfect them so that you can get rid of the germs. What you're going to do is just a wet microfiber cloth, hydrogen peroxide. Just put a little bit on the cloth, and just wipe it down. Wipe it down when you're cleaning off the table as well. Just make it part of your routine, and that'll keep the germs and everything away from the kids. All right, that's cleaned. The next one we're going to do is your cutting board. Now your cutting board has lots of different things going on. You know, if you're not using different cutting boards for each different type of thing you're cutting, all those things are going down inside the wood. And you want to prevent cross-contamination. You can do that with a lemon and some table salt. And all you're going to do is dunk the lemon into some salt, and you're going to use this as your scrub. So the combo of those two things, it's the acid in the lemon, and then the salt's acting like a scrub, and those two things are working to kill the germs on your cutting board. You can do this on a regular basis. It's not going to hurt anything. The lemon actually makes it smell nice in the kitchen. Do it on a regular basis, and you've gotten rid of your germs. Okay, the sponge, that was probably what you said was the germiest, and it does hold a lot. You got to be careful with sponges. They're dark and moist, and it's a great place for mold and mildew. What you can do, 3 different things. Wet it, bring it out, put it in your microwave, and set it for 2 to 3 minutes. Make sure this is wet, because if it's dry, you'll start to burn it. You'll start to see steam. Once you see the steam, it's done. Take it out. Don't take it out when it's too hot, so you don't want to get burned. And then it's got all the germs are taken care of. Sponges are difficult. If you smell something funny, throw it out. It's time. Don't be afraid to spend a little extra money and keep the clean sponges rotating throughout your kitchen. And the last little thing is an iPad or your iPhone or any cell phone that you're using in your kitchen. One of the things that I notice is we're really good about washing our hands, but then we go right back to our phones or our iPads, and we're right back onto the germy surface. So you want to make sure you're actually disinfecting these on occasion as well. And it's, again, something very easy to do. Use your microfiber cloth. It's not going to hurt the surface. Even though it's a little damp, it's going to pick up all the germs and leave it germ-free. If somebody had a cold or a virus, again, use a little bit of hydrogen peroxide on the cloth. Not a lot, but you're just going to use it with a little bit of hydrogen peroxide. Go back over that surface. And again, germ-free. Don't forget the backs and the sides as well. And there you go. You're ready to go. So those are the 4 germiest spots you've got in your kitchen, along with the water dispenser and the sink. So with all that combination, you've got some work to do, but it doesn't take a lot of different chemicals to clean it. You can do it with lemon juice, you can do it with hydrogen peroxide, a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and even some juice, lemon juice. All those things work together to keep your home and your kitchen germ-free. One of the things I really recommend in your home is a water filter. That's where you can really make a big difference in your home for your family. Especially right now, you're learning that you can't always trust what's coming into your home and what it contains. So you want to get a real high quality water filter to filter out all the impurities. It could be mercury, it could be chlorine. You don't know what's in your water. So don't trust what's coming through your faucet. Get yourself a water filter to purify it. I like this freestanding one. It's actually electric. What you do is you just push this and it purifies the water as you need it. It's very simple. And it tastes really good. The other thing you can get is a freestanding one. You fill these up. They have different kind of filters that you have to keep changing all the time. The one thing you want to remember is change it often, because when you add water at a dark space like a refrigerator, that's a great place for mold and mildew to get inside of things. So you can do that, keep it in your refrigerator, make sure you use it and change the filter all the time. Look at a freestanding one, or if you really want to invest, they have water filters that you can actually have put either underneath your sink or in your basement, filter the water in your home. You want to make sure you're keeping your home and your family healthy. All right, I'm going to show you one of the germiest places in your kitchen. It's this little spot underneath your water dispenser. Who would have thought? It's just water, right? Nope. Remember, it's dark It's moist, and that's exactly where mold and mildew love to be. So you've got to make sure that you figure out how to get underneath there, clean out underneath here, and clean in here. Water's not going to cut it. If you've got mold or mildew, you want to use a couple different things. You're going to use your microfiber cloth. I am a big fan of hydrogen peroxide anywhere near your refrigerator because you don't want to use a chemical because it's food and water. People are drinking it. But just take a little bit of hydrogen peroxide and go right around it. If you've got some pretty dark mold that's been growing in there, you don't have to tell me about it. But we're going to use something a little harder, which is rubbing alcohol. All right? Again, just put it on your microfiber cloth and go over that whole area. Once you get it clean, let it dry before you put anything back on top of it because you want to make sure that all the moisture is gone. And remember, underneath as well, clean everything off and let that sit before you put it back on the refrigerator. The other thing you can do, you can always try vinegar. You can clean that whole area with a little bit of spray bottle and vinegar. So you can spray it right in there and just wipe it clean. Vinegar, rubbing alcohol, and hydrogen peroxide are all going to work to get rid of the mold and the mildew. Remember though, let it dry before you do anything else. Okay, one of the other germy spots in your home is actually inside your refrigerator, which probably wasn't a surprise to you, but it's not the meat and cheese container, it's your vegetable bin. When you bring vegetables home, they come with, actually there's pesticides and other different chemicals that are on them. If you haven't washed them off before you put them inside there, all of those chemicals are staying inside there. Please don't use a harsh cleaner inside there. Hydrogen peroxide or your vinegar only inside your refrigerator. Both will do great and get rid of all the germs, so you'll be germ-free inside here. Okay, I have pets. And when I leave and I come back, there's spots on my carpet that I have to deal with. I'm sure you deal with the same thing. I'm going to tell you, one of the things you want to get when you're dealing with spots is start with club soda. Don't put any kind of cleaner other than a club soda on it first. And you're not going to spray the stain. Basically, you want to just put it on a cloth. See it bubbling up. And just gently go over the spot. 9 times out of 10, what you're dealing with is on the surface of the carpeting. And if you spray it with a cleaner, it's going to sink it down inside and make your spot worse than it really is. So just over this spot, gently wipe it, see if it comes up. If it doesn't come up, then move to something a little harsher. Again, you're not going to spray it. You just want to use a little bit of the cleaner on a towel. And these cleaners all have a soap in them. And you'll see when I start to rub it, it actually turns it almost like a white. That's the soap in the cleaner. You don't want to use too much. Too much soap gets down into the carpet and it's actually going to attract dirt to it. And that's something you don't want to do. After you've let it sit overnight, see if the spot's gone, go back over it with some club soda and make sure you get all of the soap off and you're good to go. One of the things you want to be very careful about is using too much cleaner on your carpeting. Your carpet acts like a sponge and it's going to absorb all the different soaps and chemicals that you're using and go down inside. I've had a lot of professional carpet cleaners who've come and told me that after they've been in a house, their machines have gotten so full of soapy water that they've had to stop, go dump the water and come back and finish the job. There's that much soap in those cleaners, so try to use them at a minimum. Instead, you just want to use the club soda. That'll keep your carpet perfect. Okay, today's cool tool is called a scoy cloth. Basically it's a paper product that comes from Europe. They use these in Europe all the time. It's not going to do anything magical like pop up or turn into something else when you add water. It's just a cloth, a paper cloth. This cloth is the equivalent of 15 rolls of paper towels. So think of the amount of money this is going to save you. When it's wet, it's nice and soft like a rag. You can use it to wipe things up. It's very, very absorbent and it dries really quick. That's the beauty of this, is it dries so quick that it doesn't get germy. It doesn't get stinky or smelly, and it's absolutely handy and wonderful. So instead of having your kid run over and get 15 17 different pieces of paper towel, just tell him to run and get the scoy cloth. That'll make his life and yours a lot easier. I hope you love my cool tool today. That scoy cloth is my favorite. I found it actually at the International Houseware Show in Chicago, and that's a place where people go to introduce great new products. It was introduced by two girls from Germany, and what happened was they came over to the United States and really missed their scoy cloths. So they started importing them, and now we're able to use them as well. They are the best. Okay, did you realize that your kitchen sink is almost as dirty as your toilet? That's the truth. We spend a lot of time and money and chemicals to disinfect our toilets, but what do we do with our sinks? Not much. A couple little tricks you can use so you're not using heavy-duty chemicals in there, but still keeping it clean. I love hydrogen peroxide in the sink. So after you've cleaned it out or scrubbed it, just take a little bit of hydrogen peroxide and just pour it in the sink and let it sit. Just like on a wound, you'll see it bubble a little bit when it finds a germ. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but it's bubbling. It's found some germs and it's taking care of them. Just leave it sit there for a little while. Hydrogen peroxide will then turn to water and it'll rinse down. It'll be perfect for you as far as disinfecting. Now down inside your disposal, also it's one of those dark, wet places where mold and mildew like to get all built up and it makes a big mess down there. Now, I have these little pods that I made, and they're basically just chopped up lemon peels and orange peels. And then this is vinegar. I put them in ice trays, let them freeze, and these are gonna go down in my disposal. I'm gonna put about 4 of them down there. I'm going to put another scoop or 2 of baking soda down there. And then I'm going to top it off with more vinegar. Can you hear it? And we're going to let it sit for a minute. Put on the really hot water. Turn on the disposal. So what we've done is we've taken care of the kitchen sink. We've used hydrogen peroxide in the top so that everything that we can see has been cleaned and disinfected. We've used vinegar and orange peels down inside to get rid of all the gunk on the blades, a little bit of hot water and baking soda, and we're good to go. When I did the research on the different germy places in your kitchen, I was really surprised to find out that kitchen sink is the equivalent of a toilet bowl. Never in my wildest dreams did I think the kitchen sink was that dirty. I was also really surprised about the salt shaker, but it does make sense. You're passing it around from person to person. Nobody's ever cleaning it off. It makes sense that it's one of the germiest spots in my kitchen. I came up with the idea for the disposal pods because basically it's the ice that you can put down inside there. And different ideas people have given me where you freeze the peels of the oranges or the lemons, or you put in ice cubes with some salt. And I thought, I wonder if you just take all these different ingredients and stick them in an ice cube tray and freeze them. And then you have these pods that are in your freezer and you can use them almost any time. So I just cut up some of the lemons. I think I have some oranges in there. I used some vinegar, put them in the ice trays, freeze them. And now I have this automatic disposal pod that I just pull out of my freezer when I need it.